to meditate for the rest of his life, and he wants to do that. He's the happiest that he's ever been because of it. And on the other side, his parents are saying, get married. We want to see grandchildren. And this group basically don't practice, they don't practice having children, or the act that leads to having children. Mr. X in Nottingham says, Sunil, you need to get down to earth, get real, get married, have a family. Only then will you realise what you've missed out on. Don't live your life in cloud cuckoo land. You sound like a spoilt brat who needs to grow up. Learn to cook and clean, have a family, go out, get out of your nappies, grow up for God's sake and for your future children. Become a dad and a good husband. Once again, strong words from Mr. X. Mandeep says Sunil needs to tell his parents exactly how he's feeling immediately. I'm hopeful that his parents will understand the situation. Let's hope it all works out for him. Sonica says, Sunil, explain to your parents the reasons why you don't want to marry. And there's so many other great texts and tweets coming in. V says, Sunil, follow your heart. If that means meditation, then stick with it. Life's too short. Amit says, Bobby, my personal view is that Sunil chooses to get married and live a normal life for long-term sustainability in life. At the end of it's Sunil's choice, but I strongly suggest he chooses only one out of two options on the table, i.e. meditation or marriage. Don't try and mix them together. Stick with your choice. I was going to say, well, once he's chosen, really, Sunil should embrace the gift of life as a human being. It's so precious. Someone else, Maddie saying Sunil needs to marry someone in the group. Then everyone's happy. Maddie trying to fix all the issues there. Someone else says, no religion should shut your reproductive system down. Sexual relationships are part of nature and how things are meant to be. So don't feel guilty if you get married. This comes in and I've got to read it. Bobby, I'm glad the doors have opened on tonight's subject, and it shows that faith can be a passion, but we only have one life, so live it and respect each other. And last but not least, I have to read this. Satwan says, I've been listening to your program for a while, but I only started to text this yesterday. And I'm not going to read that out because it's actually an Antakshari text. Thank you very much. We're not playing Antakshari until 8 o'clock. So anybody else, I'm sorry, it's over. Another Teddy Meri Kahani next Monday.
The sound of Asian Britain on digital TV, online and on your mobile. This is BBC Asian Network.
Thanks for listening. We're going to carry on. Lots of music coming up and also Serial Blast happening before 8 o'clock. All of that after the news with Sheetal Parmar.
BBC Asian Network News.
The Health Secretary says he's concerned that two Asian doctors accused of offering to arrange gender-based abortions won't be prosecuted. Jeremy Hunt has now asked the Attorney General for urgent clarification over the decision by the CPS, which says the case would be better dealt with by the General Medical Council. The doctors from Birmingham and Manchester were filmed by the Daily Telegraph, saying they were willing to offer terminations just because the babies were girls. The former Liberal Democrat MP, Dr. Evan Harris, says the CPS made the right decision.
These doctors face disciplinary proceedings by the GMC. If they're struck off, they lose a career they've trained 10 years for and millions of pounds in future earnings, since they wouldn't be able to work as doctors, and that's probably as much a punishment, if not more, as a suspended prison sentence.
The Coronation Street actor Michael Lavelle has given evidence for the first time at his trial in Manchester. The actor is accused of 12 sexual offences, including 5 counts of rape against one girl. She was 6 when the alleged abuse started. Ben Mundy has more.
The abuse is said to have happened between 2001 and 2010. This afternoon, the defence asked the actor how he felt about the claims. He replied, devastated. Then under cross-examination, his performance was likened to an acting job. You never get put in a position like this, he said. I'm fighting for my life. He denies all 12 charges and the case continues.
A Officials in India say they've recovered 75 bodies from the northern state of Uttarakhand, almost 3 months after devastating floods and landslides hit the region. They were found as rescue teams reached remote ridges and valleys of the Himalayas in the last few days. More than 4,000 people, most of them Hindu pilgrims, are believed to have been killed in flash floods and landslides triggered by torrential rains. The Prime Minister says Britain has new evidence that President Assad's forces used chemical weapons in an attack in Damascus last month. Mr Cameron said the evidence was found on samples being analysed at the Porton Down laboratory in Wiltshire. He also denied that Britain was being sidelined at the G20 summit in Russia after the House of Commons ruled out British military action in Syria. School children in Birmingham are going to be taught how to cook the city's iconic Balti curry. Lessons on how to make the dish are part of a plan to tackle youth unemployment and the shortage of curry chefs in the region. Dr Nikki Senior runs a pilot scheme and says it follows research which shows young people lack skills needed to work in the restaurant trade.
They were coming for interviews in these sort of establishments without a real passion for it, just seeing it as a job. But it also highlighted the hard skills when they're coming in and they're doing trials. They don't know how to blend ingredients, how to make a sauce.
Sport now, and over in Harare, Zimbabwe made 327 in their first innings on day 3 of the first test. Misbah-ul Haq and Yunus Khan made sure Pakistan were rescued, and they ended the day on 168 for 4 and a lead of 90 runs with 6 wickets in hand. And Southampton's Ricky Lambert will start England's crucial World Cup qualifier against Moldova tomorrow night after Daniel Sturridge was ruled out injured. The Liverpool striker has returned to Merseyside for treatment on his thigh strain, but should be fit to play Ukraine next Tuesday. That's all your news and sport. I'll be back in an hour.
On digital TV, online and on your mobile. BBC Asian Network. The biggest stars, the best anthems, and the latest showbiz gossip. Bobby Friction on BBC Asian Network.